Hey there! I decided to go back to some of my past creations from when I first started polymer clay and remake them, starting off with bread. If you want to make these with me, you'll need some polymer clay, a needle tool, a toothbrush, a blade, and some chalk pastels and brushes to shade with. To start off, I take some light tan clay and mix in a little bit of translucent. Part of the reason I do this is to add depth to the bread. And also the tan clay I was using was a little cheap, and so I was trying to add a little bit of firmness to it by adding in a better brand of the translucent clay. Then I'm just taking the clay and rolling it to create the loaf form. Then I continue to shape it using my fingers and the needle tool. Continue to refine the shape, and I start adding texture with a toothbrush. Then I'm going to add shading with my chalk pastels and the brush. And when you're doing something like this, you want to start with the lightest shade and work your way up. So I'm starting with yellow. Then I'm going to go with the next color, which in this case is orange. Now, I applied a bit much at first, but considering the bottom of my bread will be a little more baked, it's not going to be a big deal. As I go, I continue to try to remove little hairs that get stuck in the bread. Then I add a light reddish brown and continue to add texture as I add the shading. And here's where I began to run into issues with the clay being a little cheaper. It is because when I go to do the first slice, it squishes the bread a little bit. And when I get that first slice off, I have to sort of reshape the loaf, which is not what you really want. So at this point, I actually decided to take my loaf of bread and put it in the refrigerator for a while so that it would firm up some, and then attempt to cut another slice. You can see it doesn't squish nearly so much as it did before, so if you have the cheaper clay like I did, that's what I would suggest to get a better slice. Now to add the bread texture, I take the needle tool and I just put it into the surface of the clay and make little swirling motions. This is also a little bit more difficult with the cheaper clay than it is with a better clay that is a little more firm. Once I'm done, I'll bake all my pieces for about 20 minutes at 300 degrees. Now for a comparison, here is my old piece, and this is a slice of bread. You can see how the blade at the time drug through the clay. And now you can see my new bread. It's quite an improvement. I can still see all the flaws in it. I can see all the things that could definitely be improved, but it's still a learning experience, and it's a good way to show that if you continue to practice, you will get better. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.